Thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller. Today, we're going to be talking to South Miami Commissioner Steve Calle, and we're going to be talking all things South Miami. Welcome, Commissioner, and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mr. Miller.
And he calls me Mr. Miller today. Okay. All right, Commissioner. So let's talk about some really current things that are happening in the city of South Miami.
Oh, there's so many things going on in the city. Sunset Place, I know everybody always asks about Sunset Place, so I'll start with them. They submitted plans to the city of South Miami.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, yeah. So it's, in my opinion, it's a beautiful project. It's something created by Thomas Heatherwick Studios in London. It's something that's different that we haven't seen really in Miami. The concept, everything driven to the retail out in the open, spilling into our Sunset, historic Sunset Boulevard. I mean, there's still a lot of things that need to happen to get to that point where it's full go, but the good thing is that the drawings have been submitted to the city.
That's wonderful. And so often people say, typically I hear, well, how many stories? They go, let's talk about what's going to be there without regard if it's tall or short or skinny or fat. So tell us about some of the types of businesses that they would like to attract there.
Well, it all starts with retail, right? The way that these type of opportunities are successful is that we have people in and out, right? Right now, South Miami has not been really well received. We don't have a main focus of people or a destination where people go to South Miami. I think that's going to change. So I think having the retail space, having live, work in that area is a big deal. So you'll see residences, you'll see offices, you'll see retail, restaurants, you'll see hotels, not plural. So all that will encompass to have this, center, what we call kind of the anchor of South Miami, and then spill out into our streets and help a lot of our other parks.
If we're lucky to be like a town square, let's call it go over there.
We're calling it, I forgot the name right now. I just drew a blank, but I'll come back with that.
So when we look at it, and that's what South Miami needs, is that's what South Miami is missing, and that we have the capability of doing that. And it'll be nice to see people actually walking down the streets that are going to stay there, right? And be able to attract people from all over, say, there'll be so many things to do. So there's going to be a hotel, there's going to be apartments, there are going to be all different types of businesses, and lots of things that you can't do on the internet.
That's the idea.
Right?
Well, I know the mayor and we say it all the time. We want our girls, my daughter's 14, I think his daughter's 15. We want our daughters to, enjoy our local neighborhood and the retail instead of going out to, Merrick or the Falls. I mean, we want them to come somewhere closer and enjoy what we want to create as a town. So we're excited about that.
And when we look at that, so that'll be in the next 3 to 5 years, there'll be some sort of something happening there, hopefully.
That's the idea.
And we know right across from Casa Cuba, the old Winn-Dixie property, there are going to be a lot of people walking around, and at some point they will be shopping in South Miami, even by default.
By default, yeah.
Right. And so they're going to be in that building. They go right across the street, and there's gyms there. There's lots of restaurants, and very excited about that. There's going to be a grocery store on the bottom.
Correct.
Right?
Fresh market.
Fresh market. And people will be coming to South Miami and going there. And when they drive down the street, they can go, oh, look, my kids can go dancing over here. We can go get a haircut over there. And so I think that's vital for the future of South Miami. So my hat's off to the commission that's looking at this. Yes, sir.
It doesn't end there. I think what we are also trying to do is be very cohesive of what the look and feel of the city is going to look like. Sidewalks, branding, streetscape, all those things that we've created already, that are currently being studied. We're going to be bringing it out to the market and to the people in town halls so they understand what we're trying to go do. So we get their feedback as well. That's coming here soon and probably the next month or so. So there's a lot of good changes happening, not only in the hometown, and that's the word I wanted to use before, our hometown district. It's also crossing US 1, right? We want the hometown district to cross US 1. We'll figure out a good way to cross US 1, but our city hall, is currently up for an RFQ process where we're getting designs and feedbacks. We have right next to the metro station a student housing facility, which will house between both facilities maybe 400, 500 kids that go to UM that will cross the street and go attend what we, whether it's bars and retail or whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of opportunity happening in that particular zone, not spilling over into the residential. Very clear. We're going to be very protective of everything we do in the residential area. But in the hometown district, along the corridor, we're very much sure making sure that people attend that whole street.
And if you've been around South Miami for a long time, you remember, quite frankly, when nobody would walk down Commerce and Progress Lane other than the businesses there. And so now, with the students living there, I see these young people walking down the street, some with their dogs. I'm going, it's like a miracle, quite frankly, when you look at it and say, this is really tremendous.
Well, look what we've done at the Somi residences, right? Somi Park. Phase 1 is already complete and people are living there already. Phase 2 is currently in demolition right now. I know Academica, where the schools are, and their headquarters are in South Miami. People don't realize it, but it's the biggest charter school system in the world, really, headquartered in South Miami. And they're creating their headquarters in a building there as well. So little by little, things are creating in these areas where we're going to have a lot of more cohesiveness throughout the city. So it's pretty exciting.
Years ago, we chatted with them, and they told us that they offer their classes across the world, so they can graduate to high school from that school, all via, I don't know what they called it back then, but essentially through Zoom.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, how good is that? It'd be like if we wanted to go to some foreign school and we could be able to do it from here. When the new building that's being Somi Park, mm-hmm. right? When it's going to be similar in look and in feel?
It'll be similar look and feel. It'll be different though. I mean, it's a little bit more retail driven. It's a little bit bigger, but it'll be the same look and feel.
When I drive through there now, it's a big smile on my face, and I'm sure on literally thousands of people. But that took a long time to go from let's do something to what is the resistance? How do we get it done? And it went through probably a couple administrations over there. And you're chuckling because you know how long that took, because some old administration just resisted. But that's what happens in areas. And so we know that in the Shops of Sunset, for a while it was being resisted, all the time. Then all of a sudden the naysayers said, well, we need to do something. So, and let's talk, if we could. We know that the bank of, now the former Bank of South Miami, they're huge property owners there. The bank operations, which is no longer owned by the
owners of the building, correct, and the parking lot.
So the employees are moving to a new building.
Correct.
Within
right down
the next
street.
couple of years.
Yeah, right down the street.
But that building hasn't been constructed yet, or has it?
No, they're about to rehab it, but it's where the travel. My understanding, it's where the travel on Sunset.
Yeah. Okay.
That location, the travel center agency.
So things changed. So First National Bank had a huge building. They had a second story where people used to look down. There'd be lines to pay your, to go in and drop off your money. And now you go in there, and what they're recognizing is we don't need all this space. So has the Wirtz family, or the company that owns that, have they offered any plans yet or ideas?
No, they have not. I mean, we as a commission want something to happen there because it's a big footprint for the city. It's a gaping hole in our opinion, and it's we need park space. We need the ability to kind of do something and activate that particular parking lot and the parking lot behind ceviche lovers. So we're working with them. I mean, it's they went through a lot of changes just recently. They sold the bank. There's been, obviously Mr. Wirth himself passed away, so there's been a little bit of change at the high levels in Chicago. But we're working on to see what we can do there. Okay. I think it's pretty important.
Okay, what are some of the other things that are going to be people can vote on this to go around?
Well, we have a referendum for the city charter on August 20th, so next week. It's for South Miami residents. It's the last question, and it's a question based on currently the ability to borrow. So currently we need 4 out of 5, but if it's more than 1.5% of our budget, which is not a lot, you need 5 out of 5. And so we don't have the ability right now, if we did need to borrow or set up a bond, to have the ability to get a vote across. It's very difficult in any municipality across the United States to get 5 out of 5 people to agree on something. So what we're proposing is to lower the minimum voting, right? So it'll be 3 out of 5. and 4 out of 5, depending on what the actual pull is. So if that goes through, which it should, because I mean, you like I said, you can't have 5 out of 5 to do that. We had a referendum last election. It passed because we had a 5 out of 5. It went back down to 4 out of 5 and 3 out of 5. So that's the first one on August 20th. And then for the general election, we have a bond referendum for $65 million. Now, it sounds scary, but to put it in layman's terms, the idea is you have a line of credit, right? And I do, I do real estate and I'm an investor. The idea is to have a line that we can do and do projects, capital projects only, capital improvement projects. So I'll give you an example. Currently, we don't have the ability to, for example, if we do septic to sewer conversion, if a project's going to cost in different areas, and by the way, it's going to take a long time to get that done, but you have to start somewhere, right? Like people, that's never going to happen. Well, you start small, right, and continue the process. It's not going to take you 5 years to do it. It might take you 30 years, but you got to start, and you have to have a plan to get there. And the plan starts with, look, we have to get grants. We have to ask the state for appropriations. Our federal government for appropriations. The only way they do appropriations for us is if we have the ability to go halvesies, in layman's terms, to actually put up the money so they can go ahead and match the money. And that way we can get projects done, right? So if we have the ability to do so, it's important. Now, how do we pay that money back, right? Like if there is a bond, the good thing is that we, the city, have been really responsible financially, and we don't have too many debt on our books, and some of it's coming off here in the next couple of years. So we can use that debt coverage that we have to start paying for that. So people won't see the difference. People are scared, and it's a scary thing, right? Because you think, oh, it's a loan from the city, and it's backed by our taxes, but you have to be responsible on how you spend it. That also goes to the public on what particular projects, whether it's bridges, cul-de-sacs, culverts. There's a lot of different things that might happen. Our parks. We just invested some money in South Miami Park where we did the lights, bathrooms. We didn't have bathrooms for
South Miami Parks is on
the north side behind David Fairchild. We didn't have bathrooms, and that was one of the reasons I ran. So we have buildings are being constructed.
Let's see if we have it right. It was a park for grown people and for their kids, and there were just outhouses.
2 outhouses.
2.
Poor kids, yeah.
And what year was that? Just for the people that need to be reminded.
What year is what?
That they were still in operation.
They're still in operation right now.
Right.
We don't have the bathrooms coming in until mid next year. It's just crazy.
And so when you think about those type of things, we frequently wonder, what other things will we look at in 5 years and say, can you believe that we still had in such and such a year? So what are some projects there that you look at and say, we really need to do this because it's an embarrassment for the city and it's not good for us?
There's several, but the park was one. But luckily that one's coming off the books. I think our city hall. I mean, look, we have nearly 5 acres of land, a dated police station, ineffective police station. We have a dated city hall. We have the ability to really monetize that for our community and our constituents to do more with it. And what we do is we had the referendum to change the lease years from 50 years to 99. So now that gives you the ability to bring in more RFP people, developers to help us develop not only our city hall, our library, our police station, park, aligning to the underline. There's just so many different things that we can do. We want to be top of class. People say, oh, but we're fine. It's status quo. But you got to think about 20 years. And if you keep on saying you're status quo, status quo, status quo, the development process, whether it's infrastructure, it just gets bypassed. And what happens is you struggle 20 years later, and it's very difficult and very expensive to recover from that.
So for the folks that haven't been inside the South Miami Police Station, if they want to wake up and get their heads jostled, just ask for a little tour in there. Yeah. You would think that you were in the mid-50s.
It's from the mid-50s.
Oh, well, that's why.
It hasn't changed.
How about that?
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is South Miami. What's the budget nowadays?
We're getting close to 30 million, so I think we're at 27 million right now.
$27 million, and you have a 60-year-old police station.
Well, look, there's a lot of municipalities that have done it correctly. We've learned from that. Look, we're data driven. We understand different opportunities. And you've seen Homestead, you've seen Doral, you've seen Coral Gables, Pinecrest. All these people, all these municipalities come up with new infrastructure and the way they actually finance stuff, and that's the stuff that we need to go do.
And when a new police officer is considering going to work, they look at the whole thing: the personnel, the leadership there, the elected officials, and the police station. When you walk in, you go, oh. For the folks that don't know, the lobby in the City of South Miami Police Station might be 2 tables. Do I have that right?
2 chairs.
It's small.
Yeah, it's very small.
And it's like, where am I? Right?
It's probably a quarter of this room. It's small.
And it's like,
for the viewers out there, this is not a big room.
Yeah, it's not a reflection on the police officer. We're talking about the facility, and that matters to a new, like, 25-year-old guy who says, "I want to be a cop," and I go over there and go, "Huh, I wonder what else they have that's old."
Well, look, follow up that, right? We have a new chief, and Chief Hatfield is doing an amazing job, recruitment-wise, getting more applications that we've ever gotten, changing the culture. Not that it was bad, but just improvement. Everything we're trying to do is improvement, best in class, trying to get better. So having the ability to have, and maybe he won't see it, maybe it'll take some while, time, but the ability to have somebody where the police are training, exercising, happy to come to work, enjoying their peers, that's a big deal.
Yes. So what else can people look forward to seeing on the ballot for South Miami?
Well, those are the only 2 things on the ballot for us. Obviously, on the ballot, we have our mayor, we have our county commissioner. Our district is up for vote, so please go out there and vote. It's District 7. So those are the 2 most important, besides our referendum ballots, on the ballot that people need to vote on, because it makes a difference on what the city does and happens with our partners in the county. Well, look, right now, I couldn't be happier the relationship that we've had with the county commission, specifically our district leader, Regalado. She has given us the ability to work together. For example, her and I have done a kids marketplace and I think your brother helped us, so Grant helped us out to help out, get a lot more people to come. But we did 50 tables where kids kind of gave their marketplace, had their artwork, jewelry, food, all this stuff out there to give it out to the masses in the marketplace. And me and her co-sponsored all that. Whether it's septic to sewer, I'm doing we did sensory labs with her. We've done kids financial literacy programs. I set up a classroom environment here in South Miami where we can teach our kids financial literacy. We can show our people in our community how to better their credit score, get rental assistance programs. So all this in a classroom environment when we teach all that stuff. So it just started, 6 months ago. But the ability to start, again, small, but start getting more and more people and visibility. You know how it is marketing-wise. We need to do a better job of marketing. We've hired marketing people in our city, social media, community involvement. I mean, if you check a lot of the people in our community, commercial community, they're a lot happier because they have access to the commission, to the city manager, where we can all work together and do something special.
And that's wonderful. And we know that technology adds to all that as far as transparency.
Absolutely.
So when you look down the road from a technology point, and AI and chat and all those things and more newsletters, what is it that you would like to see happen from a technological point?
From the city's perspective?
Yes.
Look, fundamentally, we've done a good job in the city technically with all the technical. I'm a technical background. I'm an electrical engineer. So streamlining calls, streamlining code enforcement, streamlining POTS, street, what do they call that? Holes in the street. I forgot. Drew a blank. But you know what I'm talking about. Sidewalk cracks, all that stuff is all streamlined. I think the next iteration of our city, as we continue to improve our hometown area, is a smart city, right? Having the ability to communicate, having the ability to have internet, having the ability to be green, having the ability to have water easier. Those are the things that, as we progress in the next couple of years, those are the things I kind of want to take initiative to be, a lot more technologically advanced in our city.
My personal experience recently with the city has been wonderful, terrific. I asked a question, I got a text or an email right back. This is who you should speak to. This is their email address. This is the phone number. Call. Yes, I've been expecting your phone call. Terrific. My hat's off to the city to be able to do that, because we as consumers of products and services, we want to be taken care of. We don't want to have to go around and around, especially in a city when we feel like that's part of us. We may not feel that about when we go buy our gas, but certainly from a city point. We know that Josh Liebman is finishing his 11th year.
Yeah, we got to thank him for his service. 12 years.
12 years, right?
Done a lot of good things.
Yes, and it was incredible. And it seemed like he was just such a young man, but
he's still a young man.
So my hat's off to Josh and for being bold enough to be able to do that. And when he came to be, and he says that we should get new signage in the city and start dressing it up. And it was like really tremendous. And that made the difference where we can say as consumers, the city cares. And at first it was that I'm sure it was before him were the roundabouts, but then the signs over at the parks and the signs on the street corners. It's like, that's the crown molding for the city. And as Sunset Drive continues to be worked on, and what's the name of the new apartment building across from Costa Cuba? What's the name? Whatever.
It's Avalon Bay right now.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's going to be great to add so many things over there. And we do our events at Casa Cuba, and so we're quite familiar. And although we lost some parking spots, you know where we tell people, go in the city parking garage. And it's really great, and we'll all learn how to deal with that.
Well, our garage is something that's been kind of hidden in the open. I think we're trying to do a much better job and make sure it's effective and efficient. I think we lowered rates so people start using it. Look, the truth of the matter is that Miami-Dade County is changing, right? People keep on coming. This is going to be a metropolis. It's a big city.
Yes.
We've struggled with infrastructure, specifically in transportation, and we need to do a much better job of that holistically. And I think that's why it's important that we vote on that particular item. But I think it's really, really important to see what Josh has done and the leadership he did and just how we carry it out. Not only just kind of nitpicking, but infrastructure, build it from the ground up so it's effective and efficient.
Okay, we got a couple minutes left, and I would like you to think about people that have helped you in your life and mentors, or maybe, some folks that really helped you. And what I'd like you to do is just take a minute, and I really would like you to thank them, all right, by name if you want. If not, and whether they're alive or not would be great. If you could look into this blue camera over here, and it's all you are on, Commissioner.
Well, you're putting me on the spot here.
Of course. This is not rehearsed, folks.
Someone that's helped me. Man, there's been so many people that's helped me, but you can't do a lot of things. I've been blessed in my career that I'm not that old. I'm 45 years old.
Look right there.
I'm 45 years old, and I've done a lot of different things. I've won Entrepreneur of the Year in the state of Florida, and people helped me to be an entrepreneur. But to be honest with you, I think the person that's always been there for you is my wife and my family, my mom and dad. I'm a go-getter. I'm out always doing things. I've always been pretty successful, but getting to a point where you actually have to make decisions and sacrifices, and they're always there with you and always saying yes and being your biggest cheerleader, I think that's a big deal.
Wonderful. And we know their little eyes are watching us all the time.
All the time.
So can you share with us any charities or not-for-profits that you're involved with?
Yeah. So my family, my daughter specifically, we do a lot with Live Like Bella. The foundation?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Live Like Bella Foundation is the CEO, Nicole Puente, and then the whole team over there. They just do a really good job of raising capital for it's cancer, childhood cancer. They've grown tremendously. They're doing so many good things. So we're a big fan of them, and we support them wherever we can, specifically in the city, like all the stuff that I do.
So if people want to make a donation, they could go online.
LiveLikeBella.com, yeah.
Okay.
Or .org, I think. I'm sorry.
So people can look that up.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Commissioner Steve Calle, thank you very much for being here. Continued success for you. We're going to look right in the red camera. Folks, thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend, and take care of yourselves.